How shall we start this?
Do we not start every podcast with like, hi, I'm Helen Tudor and this is the Ideal Client Attraction Podcast, or not? You can have that. Done. We're rocking and rolling. Let's go. Is it 4?
Is it 4? Okay, so we've just established, Helen, that we're on episode 4 after much confusion and trying to remember previous weeks.
We've got this,
episode 4, automations.
Yes.
How to not lose your mind was growing and scaling your company.
Yes.
Now, with all the spirituality side of what you do,
yes,
some people might fear automations as losing some humanizing, some contact things. So, first of all, first question is, with automations, how do you get over the mindset of that risk of losing some of the human element?
Yeah, so I think automations allow you to be more human at more scale, as long as you put the human into it, if that makes sense. So how we use automations is, well, there's a couple of ways we use automations. So one is obviously email marketing. There's only so far you can take email marketing though, because obviously you can ask for people to reply and things like that, but it's just automatically sending out broadcast emails. Whereas the stuff that we do with WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger to a point, but we've definitely moved more into WhatsApp, is we're able to put out content from me that's really personalized to the event that they've attended. So for example, a 5-day challenge. So we can push out to everyone who's engaged in the 5-day challenge a voice note from me or a video from me that's talking about, thanks so much for being part of the challenge, whatever it might, I think we do on about halfway through. So it's halfway through the challenge. Really so happy and grateful, you've been a part of it and all that kind of stuff. And I mean that, I mean it. And if I could message everyone individually, I would, but I can't. So that's as close as I can get to being personal with the recipient. That's one for the outtakes. I can't even say it.
It's not being in the outtakes, it's staying in.
That's the best I can get. It's actually more personal. So actually, the more of me I can put into my automations, the more personal it's going to feel from the other side. So it allows me to do that at huge scale. And the feedback is that people, they love it. They know it's not me and them in a one-to-one. I think most people understand that. And I don't pretend it is anything but that. But it's very much about, I want them to hear me and feel like what I'm trying to say. So voice notes work really well in our automations. And the other thing we can do is we can personalize it to them. So when we can ask them specific questions. So like at the end of the challenge, we'll ask them, how did you get on with the challenge? How did you get on with the tasks? And there's 3 options. So I smashed everyone, did some or didn't get any done. And then depending on how they answer, they get the next level of whatever the answer is, right? So it's that choose your own adventure thing, And I'm really lucky because I actually had a business with Paul Green. I've stepped away from it now, but Paul Green and I set up a business called Client Funnels. And we really, I feel pioneered a lot of that stuff. And it was really about, and when I put it into my business, it's about having more conversations. So it's about having more conversations and more conversions, but it's about how can we have multiple conversations happening at once, at the same time, on a Sunday evening when, as we talked about before, I'm in the pub or I'm I'm with my family. So these can be happening at a time that I would never be engaging with my audience, but it allows them to consume me at the time to suit me. And depending on how they press the buttons, they get fed different things. Now, from a strategic point of view, it means that we can focus on, as people answer certain questions. So for example, a really small one is, if they say it's the reason why I've not bought is the money, then we can offer them an extended payment plan. So we can be really specific about the stuff that we kind of feed up depending on their answers. And this really made a difference in my business, massively made a business.
I can see how it would. And I think the other thing is as well, you were saying there, you wanted to send a voice note because it's generally how you felt, and you generally would have liked to have contacted everybody and said, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's the great thing with WhatsApp automations, especially at scale. It's kind of you can feel something after the webinar or after you've done something. You can be feel that, and you can just say, thanks so much for coming. Yeah. Or I really enjoyed that. Or, oh, I forgot. Here's the link. I was talking about a book and I couldn't remember what book it was or who said it. It's this book. It's this person. Do you know what I mean? And people are like, oh, that's great. And it enables you to connect at scale. And as you say, it's like you're broadcasting some stuff because some stuff is a broadcast. They need an information, and then you tailor the broadcast. But also, it's like when they give you an answer, you've got that human resource then to tailor the answers better, to give them the stuff they want further down the line, rather than wasting that human resources on the more generic stuff earlier on. Kind of just moves the human down into the more personalized stuff that people really
and the people that need us. So we have a team watching the WhatsApp. So we use a piece of software. So we have the team watching the WhatsApp, and we say that. And again, I'm very transparent. I say the team are like standing by, and anything that you say in there, you know, it'd be between you and a small group of people, you know, but please do come and share things maybe you didn't want to share during the challenge, like in the public. You know, we've got 100 people on the live. Maybe you don't want to say it there, but you can come and tell us if you're feeling things or things are coming up for you, or, you know, you getting stuck on tasks, or you're getting stuck, you feel like there's a mindset shift that you need to happen, please do come in. So we actually invite them to come in and talk to us as people as well. And at any time, anybody can see those conversations and jump in if needed.
Yeah.
So you can turn the automation off and just jump in, and people love it because quite often, if everyone will do this now, but if I'm watching it and I'll spot someone saying, I know this isn't Helen and it's a robot, sometimes I'll jump in with a voice note, like, you know, hi Emma, it is Helen. Yes, you were talking to a robot, but I can see, like, you know, how are you getting on and stuff like that. And people are just like, wow, that's amazing, because they don't think it's me, as in I wouldn't be able to do that, but we can do that, and we can jump in. And I know the team jump in and they'll say, you know, it's Natalie, it's Gillian, you know, I've seen that you've said this, like, how can we help you with that? So it's a really good hybrid of automation to almost do the heavy lifting, which then allows us to focus our time on the people who want to speak to us or need to speak to us the most, rather than trying to have those at scale conversations.
Shifting the human contact to the most important part. So it sounds like WhatsApp automation is one of your favorites.
Yeah, and Score app. Scorecards, using Score app.
So that's Daniel Priestley's?
Yes. So full disclosure, I'm an angel investor in Score app.
Okay, well then you should be pretty keen on it then.
Yeah, I am pretty keen on it. But the reason I am an investor in it is because it just blew my mind how good it was.
It's like, I'm getting old a bit now.
Love it still.
Mark might remember this. Was it Remington? I liked it so much with the razor. I liked it so much. I bought the company. Yeah. So I like Score app so much. I become an angel investor in the company.
It was. I really did invest in it truly because I thought every organization needs one of these. And it changed my life from having a lot of leads, so a lot of names and email addresses, to a lot of information. And that was quite a significant shift because you're able to ask the questions. I also, for those who don't know, so Scorecard, it's like a quiz. So you can ask questions, give different answers, and as people answer, they get served up different results. And I'm sure it'll just keep evolving as it gets more sophisticated and the AI gets more involved. But it is really clever because it also allows you to ask the questions you want to know. So like, how long basically have you had this problem? What have you done to try and fix it? How much are you willing to invest in it? Have you bought any of these products or services from me? And, you know, would you like to buy any of these? And would you want to book a call? So it's a really clever way of giving them some information, insight into themselves, and then getting what you want really, which is the data and the information, which again allows us to automate how we interact with those people. So if somebody says, I've got no money to spend, then we'll give them as much free resources as we have available. If what happened to me once, someone said, we've got $1 million to spend, and we're one of the biggest law firms outside of New York, I ring them up.
Pop over.
So it allows us to make really smart strategic decisions.
Helps you to help them in the way that they need help.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than like, oh, here's a solution, and it's massively beyond my budget, and I've just wasted all this time, like watching a webinar. Doing things like that. I'd be far better to say, look, if you start here, John, with our 47 ebook, and then you can build up, and then from the 47 ebook, you might be able to buy £1,000 course, and then like from the £1,000 course, then you can go into our master. You know, like and I think that's the thing with like a Score app, you would know where to start me.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I don't want to waste your time if you're ready to buy and you want to buy and you're motivated to buy, you know, and you tell us that, you know, it's a very strong buying signal.
But also, people haven't got a team. There's no point selling them something that's about a team. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
that's really good intelligence to have within your business. That for me, turned my business from let's generate loads of leads and close between 1% and 3% of them to let's actually be a lot smarter with how we interact with our audience, because we can actually see with our eyes where people are at, what problems they've got, where they're stuck and where they need help.
And those two sound like they work very well in sync.
Massively.
So email marketing is great.
Yep. Love it, but it frustrates me because the open rates are just so shit compared to WhatsApp.
Frustrates me because I can't write. Do you know what I mean? So for me to do email marketing, I would feel like I'd need to hire someone to help me write the emails. Whether that's true or not, I know it's probably email marketers going, oh, anybody can try it, just make it sound like you. But with a WhatsApp automation, I'm quite capable of sending WhatsApps.
Yeah, you do it all day.
Sounding human. It's just, you know. So that sounds really good. So they're like your automations for bringing people in, like your favourite.
The favourites.
The favourites are, and they're probably ones that aren't the common ones, because let's be honest, Facebook ads into email list into, you know, is there. What I'd like us to talk about is team efficiency automations. If you've got anything that helps the back end work there, or your team tell you that there's stuff going on. But before that, is there any automations that you've tried? You mentioned in an early episode that you weren't too keen on your Calendly link for keeping people that little bit further away.
The team use Calendly, and I understand the concepts of Calendly.
No, absolutely. It's clear that you do, but do you know what I mean? Like, is there any automations that you think actually they don't necessarily help, or things that you've tried that
this isn't automation? It's software, but I've lost count of the amount of project management software we've tried. Right back in my agency days, we had Basecamp, and then we've had Asana, and we've had Trello, we've had all of these different, we had all Microsoft put in and everything. And I just cannot get my head around using project management software. I just can't. I don't know why. I think that's probably more me than the team. But I remember, we'd have all these tasks and then they'd all be assigned and then they wouldn't get done and they'd get overdue. And I just found the whole thing really stressful. But if you're into that kind of thing, like, I get it, I can see the power of it, but it's something that we've definitely tried that we've not managed to really implement and execute.
So what's really interesting with that, I know people that have companies, they're like, oh, project management tool, but then they've got people that they're paying to manage the project management tool.
It's like,
and you kind of think, like, is that really helping then if you're paying someone each day to go in and sort out whatever project management tool it is? And it's like, oh, I've got a project management tool. Oh, I don't go into it myself.
Yeah,
You go, oh, okay, because it's like terrifying. But so your team, do your team use one now, or do they just?
I think. Do you know what? This is again tech software rather than automations, but I just love Google Docs. I understand that. I can work that. I can sell off a Google Doc. My high ticket stuff is just a Google Doc that I've typed out myself that I send the link to. Like, I get it. It makes sense. There's this, I know the big scary document that I don't look at, that's a Google Doc. And I love that we can all go in and change things and stuff. And my cash flow is done on a Google Doc. So I find that really easy to use.
Within that, like, because there's loads of things you can do, like, I always lose an F or a T, IFTT, so.
Oh, yeah. We do use that, and we use.
So if a lead comes
Zapier.
So do you have like Zaps? So like if a lead comes in, it goes somewhere and that person knows to do that?
Oh, all of that, yeah. Especially with the 5-day challenge. So when someone registers for the 5-day challenge, then there's a Zap or something that happens, and then they
does a thing.
Yeah, a thing does a thing, and then it goes into the email and it gets tagged so we know who they are. And also there's some whizzy thing that all the scorecard leads, which always traditionally sat in scorecard, which is Score App, which I could just log in and see. Now they all get tagged and put into Active Campaign, which is what we use the email for. Don't know how, magic. I don't know, but the team will know. So basically when people fill in the scorecard or they come to a challenge, they'll get put into our
into
system.
the right buckets.
Into the right buckets, and all the automations go from there. The emails all dead whizzy and they all do different things, and you get the emails every day, and then you get and I think from the other side, like as a participant, I don't actually participate in other people's challenges and webinars and stuff, so I don't know how slick everyone else's is. But the feedback is quite often, if it's really feels really slick and impressive, like because there's lots of things happening at once. Obviously, there's some people that hate it because they're like, you're emailing me, you're WhatsApping me, you're sending me, Facebook Messenger, like, give it a rest, and they do get. But for every person who thinks that, there's 10 people that's like, thank you so much for telling me that you're going live in 10 minutes because that really helps me keep on top of it and keep organised. And thanks for sending it to my email and to my WhatsApp because then I can find the task. So I think there's a risk and reward with everything. The risk is worth the reward for us. For everyone who's like, I can't cope. Like for emails, I've always been a voracious email sender. Not me, but like my team.
Yeah. But as a company policy.
Yeah, it's like more is more with email. Because we know, and people say, I got kicked out of a group for this once. But anyway, someone said, I'm so sick of people sending me loads of emails. And oh my God, people send me 3 emails in one day. And I remember I was like, we send 6 on the last day of a launch. And someone was like, that is like basically spam. And it's you look really desperate. And all these like people who never made any money was giving me grief about it. And I was like, I make money off every single one of those emails. And that's what I pay my mortgage and feed my kids with. So I'm going to keep sending the emails. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. And that's my choice as a business owner to run my business. And it's like for every one person who thinks 6 emails in one day is an outrage, there's 100 people who are like, oh, Helen's sending us loads of emails, great. And then they buy on the last one. We send one at like 11:45 sometimes and people buy. So think of those people who wouldn't buy if I was worried about what someone in a Facebook group would think about me sending all the emails. I just think everyone's got a choice. The thing is with automations, as long as people have got a choice, and we've seen a massive, I've been in the online space for 10 years. We've seen a massive change in, we've had GDPR legislation and spam rules and all that. And I think now you just opt out if you don't want it. As long as you can opt out, then it's fine. It's only if you force people to consume your stuff. I think a subscribe is a good, healthy sign. An unsubscribe is a good, healthy sign that someone's doesn't want to buy your stuff anyway.
Absolutely.
Good.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, I totally agree with you. The WhatsApp stuff, I was a bit against because I tried to keep my WhatsApp clean. More of a, it was more of like, for me,
emails 15,
for me, WhatsApp
ago.
was where I communicated with people that I actually knew because I had my phone number.
Yeah,
like that was kind of like that. And I must admit, the amount of times I've gone to opt in to sign up for a webinar and they've asked for my mobile number, I'm not that into it. Do you know what I mean? So but then if there's stuff that I was actually going to buy, I would probably happily enter my thing. So even just asking for that, as an automation, I think when it started early on, even with like the tech stuff, it's just like when whatever services I was sending, you'd be woken up at 2 a.m. with a, hey, our next webinar, that not the one you signed up for is on this. But it's like, people forget with all automations, right, that as you say, if someone sends you an email, you don't have to read it.
No.
You can click delete, even if you don't want to unsubscribe, even if you don't want to do it. And I can attest to that because if we check my phone right now, there's probably 18,000 unread emails in my personal email account.
Same.
I know they're there and I can search for them. And there's certain people that I like getting their emails because I like studying them as a thing.
Yeah.
I like having those launch sequence emails to do it. And yes, there are emails that sometimes on the 6th email, I like because I've gone, oh, that's the last day of that. I should really sign up for that special offer. And then it pings me when I've actually sat down at the end of the night and I'm not thinking about anything else. They're like, you were going to do this. Like you've opted in. You said you wanted this. And I've gone, oh yeah, I did. And I've gone in like with that moment clear because you could send the first 3 emails and someone could be busy at work. Someone could be with clients.
That's it.
And then like the 6th email hits them when they're actually, and it's just a reminder to go, oh, I'll open it and read it. You never know the availability to consume.
No.
When an automation is going to hit someone. And I do think like with WhatsApp, makes a lot of sense because generally
it's like 95%
I don't ignore WhatsApp. The only thing that could, I think, affect that is if too many people start
doing it. Marketers ruin everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in SEO for years and we have literally ruined the internet. So sorry, people. Not me personally. But yeah, I think with those automations, I think also with the Zaps, so, or the IFTTs or whatever magic the team are doing. So let's look at that. Let's look at the systems as a whole. So automations, save time, make money, mega win in Helen land.
Definitely. There's a risk though, like with any reward.
Absolutely.
When automations go wrong, they go wrong at scale.
Okay.
If you send the wrong link out, you send it, you look stupid to a lot of people. If you, like the one place where I don't use any automation and I don't talk about it is social media really.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, and also like for like LinkedIn specifically, there's a lot of automations that people put in place and for DMing people and all that kind of stuff, which goes horribly, horribly wrong because you could DM somebody that you've just had a fallout with or something, or DM somebody, or you've just, they've just emailed you and said, if you ever contact me again, whatever it might be. So I think I remember being on a phone call with Charlie Price talking about the pros and cons of automation. And his team, the automations came out while I was on the phone. And I was like, this is the problem, mate. You're messaging me when you're on the phone to me. So I know it's not, it's just, and you're trying to make it look like it's you, and it's not.
Yeah,
So I think there's definitely pros and cons, and if somebody doesn't like you or is antagonized by you, the more automated stuff you send them, the worse they get hopping mad. Sometimes people are like, so in the WhatsApp, it says clearly, if you want to stop receiving this, type the word stop, because it's a robot.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that bit, but it should do.
Yeah.
And then they say things like, don't message me again. And then it'll send them another automation, and it'll say, oh my God, stop. Like whatever they say doesn't use the word stop. So basically they're just like, this is so wrong. This is so annoying. You're so annoying. I hate you. Blah, blah. And I'm just like, you just need to write stop. You just need to follow the instructions.
They're not read 50 Shades of Grey. You need to use a safe word.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say unsubscribe. You have to say stop because it says say stop. So sometimes there's a bit of that, and I understand frustrations on that front when you're on the other end of it and you're just like, oh, I wish they'd stop.
I think if someone is generally at the stage in their life where an extra email or a WhatsApp message
tips them over the edge
where they go there. I often think like how peaceful their life must be. It's either life's really peaceful, that's the biggest problem they've got that day, is that someone sent them a WhatsApp message or 2 emails.
Yeah.
People that's
do
the biggest,
get upset with it sometimes.
I do get that if you've just had one of those days, kids are playing up, car's not starting, and then you've sent the wrong message back and saying unsubscribe rather than stop, it probably could be your falling down moment.
Of course. We always say that, we always say that there's always something behind this.
I imagine if they did redo that film, Falling Down, there would be some kind of tech error that started that, started his day, that ends up, if you haven't watched Falling Down because you're young, go watch it. It's a brilliant film.
It's a good analogy.
but so with that, you set it all up, but let's talk about that. Right? Automation's sexy as hell.
Yeah.
Right? I want automations. I want scorecard. I want it all.
Yeah.
If I sat down now, I'm going to do it all. What am I looking at? Time, investment, not time investment, maybe in money, but I imagine it's not overnight.
Is it?
Because you've got to know what you want it to do. So let me rephrase that because that's a very badly put question. Before we build the automations, I imagine you need to spend some time planning what the actual goal of the automation actually is. And then I imagine there's a hell of a lot, well, not a hell of a lot of time up front to save the time down the end, but then you can reuse it. Can you talk us through that what your thought process is as Helen when you're going to bring in a new automation? You said you liked the scorecard app. So what was and you've mentioned why you like that. Because it gave, rather than just leads, it helped us filter the data earlier. It gave them something of value and us something of value. And it gave them the right thing. So the audience is getting what they want and the right thing for them. You're getting what you need. And then with the WhatsApp, you're saying about how you like the ability to communicate, send voice notes. It's a lot more flexible. But what was the planning stage of deciding, okay, we're going to use this for this, and we're going to use that for that, and then we're going to use email for that? And then just deciding what automations to implement, and how did you go about that? Because it's I know I want automation, but where do I start? Where's day one of automation?
So I'll tell you exactly where day one of automation is, and that's ideal client work.
Right.
So you got to go so deep into your ideal client and really understand who they are and what they want, and then create automations that give them an experience. So what I love about Scorecard or Score app and the WhatsApp interactions and email to a point is it makes people feel something. It makes people feel like they're having an experience. Same reason why I love 5-day challenges. It's an experience. You are giving your client a shift in where they are and where they want to go. You're moving it, making them feel something. And I say this about everything that I do. It's got to make them feel something. Otherwise, what's the point? To me, automations are to make people feel loved and supported and cared for and like we give a shit as an organization that they get what they need, whether that is I get the link at the right time, whether it is I've got 3 ways of getting the task because they might be like me and just, forget to do it or not be able to find a link at the right moment, to make them feel like they've got a space to share with us how they're feeling if they're at, something's coming up. So it's all up for me. It is completely client centric. Yes, there's a massive benefit for us as a business. But if that was at a trade-off to make people feel something in a negative way, apart from obviously I've said the few people that get offended by, and everyone's threshold on that is different. I get that quite a lot from my clients. They'll, we'll be on a group call inside the program and someone will say, I don't want to send loads of emails because what if people get upset or what if people get annoyed, or I'm worried about doing automation because what if they, there's a couple of things, but the main thing is if they do get upset and annoyed because you're giving them more of you, they're not your ideal client. And I say to the people, on Zoom, how do you feel about my emails? Like, how do you feel about my automations? How do you feel about the volume of what we're sending? Same as how do you feel about how much I post online, right? Which some people think is outrageous and like almost criminal that I post multiple times a day, like whatever I'm thinking and feeling. And they say, oh, Helen, we love it. I was like, yeah, you love it because you love me. So you want more of me. Yeah. It's like you can't get enough of me. You want as much of me as possible. That's why you buy all my stuff. That's why you listen to the podcast. That's why you're going to read my book. That's why you want to come up to me in an event and see me in real life, is because I've given you something. I've given you something over the years, whatever it might be. Could have been something you heard me say something that just landed. Could be that I used to trigger you massively. I get that a lot. And when I met you, I didn't like you. You really triggered me. And like over time, I've realised I wasn't ready to hear it or whatever, or I just wasn't, whatever it might be. I've given you something. So you want more of it. And if you hate me and you think I'm annoying and irritating, the last thing you want is 6 emails from me in a day. I can imagine how annoying it is. I always think people who've block me because they just don't like me for whatever reason, which is fine. Like, that's fine by me. But then they start getting my ads. It must be like, this woman is like finding me every corner of the internet. It must be so annoying.
It's when people comment on ads they don't like.
Yeah.
Which is literally telling the algorithm,
to send
please
me more.
show me more of that stuff. So I think, we do the ideal client work first. Then we figure out, I know my ideal client. I know what conversation they're going to have with me. I know the ways I can help them.
Yeah.
What questions do I need to ask them to know which level of my help or which product or where I'm meeting them? So it's kind of like, they're my ideal client. Here's my products and services. We'll put them into the scorecard app and we'll ask them the right questions to figure out where I start helping them, where we meet. Where do I meet my ideal client on this particular journey? And then we make that automation feel slick and like they're getting something of value early on. They're getting listened to and understood. They'll be like, right, this is the right place for me.
Yeah.
And then the other automations are to enable us to communicate effectively with that person, right, until they're in our program and they're getting help. And then also whilst they're in the program, to make sure that they feel listened to and they have a great connection source and stuff like that within it. So I think that's a really interesting kind of point, is like, if you don't know who your ideal client is and you're just picking an off-the-shelf automation, you're just kind of like, get them to do this, go through, and it is like the old-fashioned one. It still works to a degree, doesn't it? Like, not as well. I'm going to run a Facebook ad, then I'm going to ask for their email address, and I'm going to give them a PDF, or I'm going to give them a video.
Which is great to get started. It's better than nothing,
But it's kind of like, actually, what else could I actually ask? What would I really know? Like, what are my hell yeah clients going to really want? And the products that can really help. So I know if you're here, this is going to really help you, and it's the right price point to move you from there. If you're here, this is what's going to really move you. And if you're here, I found you, let's answer some questions and let's see where you're at. So I don't think a lot of people would have plugged in ideal client work into automation. And I think that's what's really interesting with what you're doing with the ideal client work, and like anchoring it as to, it used to be something with avatar work, which I know is different and not entirely the same, like everybody, he drives a BMW, like the real low level stuff. That used to be something you'd do at the start, but it kind of then got forgotten about a lot when you were building everything. And it sounds like with these automations, you're really making sure for you and your clients that they're there to serve and deliver value for the client.
Thing is, the more of the opt-in and the opt-out options you get, the clearer you can see who your ideal clients are. Because they literally will just keep coming towards you. You know, your dream client doesn't have any objections, right? So they just want to come towards you as fast as and efficiently as possible. And this really allows them and you to find each other quicker. You know, when I filter my scorecard leads, I don't do it anymore, but someone does it for me. But you can basically create this almost quadrants of not very motivated, got no money, and very motivated, got a lot of money. So as an entrepreneur, it's just like catnip, because it's kind of, oh, now I can see where I should be spending my time. And you can do lots of other stuff manually. And the thing is, with automation in tech, if your ideal client work isn't nailed down, it's not going to work anyway, as well as it could do. So the more dialed in your ideal client work is, the more the tech can help you dial in even more. And it allows you to get so interactive. That's what it is. You know, it's a two-way thing. It's not just about, like, say, doing the ideal client work. That's our ideal client. We'll stick it on the wall. And that's, you know, that's who we're thinking about when we're posting. It's actually, well, this is our ideal client that we've created in our heads, you know, and we're going to start talking to them. But it's a movable feast, right? Because the more they're going to come back and interact with us, the more data we have. You know, Daniel talks about turning data into stories and stories into data. The more data we have, the more stories we have, the more we can refine the automations to make them even better, even slicker. The more we can like really start to dial this in so we can get even more sophisticated when we're more educated on our ideal client, because we're actually starting to have those conversations at scale.
Yeah. And I think one of the interesting things that just pinged into my brain, I've got a scorecard app, I've got those quadrants, and I might be sat there going, I've got 1,000 people on that scorecard app that I haven't got the right thing for yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a massive thing.
Like they're literally sat there.
Oh, yeah, massive.
It's just like, okay, you said like they're interested, but they've got no money or low level of money. Right. Podcast, which is what you're recording now. So all those people that you want to help but might be like pre-value stage, it's like, okay, let's get them into my content and let's help them with as much value as I can deliver for free. It might be that you just go, if I had a YouTube channel where I could deliver some of the snippets, I'm certain if we compiled your 15,000 posts a month for the last 10 years that you've done on Facebook into like a book and turned it in there, there's probably enough teachings to get anybody in a very hard to find and reference form, which is what social media is. You know, there's probably enough teachings in there to get people moving. Oh, there 100%
there is.
You know, out there.
That's how I sleep lovely at night. Because I know that I've helped millions of people for absolutely for free.
Who've never even told you, because some people are like,
but that's what the challenge is.
You can look at those leads and go, I can direct you here.
Yeah.
I can direct you here. And an automation that I really liked once that I come across was like a Google Doc. And it was just sort of like, hey, here's some of our best posts that people have found most helpful.
Oh, yeah, nice. That's
and
cute.
It literally just went to, and it was like a blog post, a YouTube video that they had done, an interview they'd done somewhere else. It's just like, here's a hit list. Yeah. Here's a Facebook post I did 3 years ago on this that actually got a lot of things. Here's this I did on there. And what I realised was I'd gone there and then I was on 4 of his channels. Yeah. I didn't realise that that's what was happening because the resources were there. It's all free. So, okay, I'll go and watch that video for like 10 minutes and this is where I explain this concept. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like here.
Yeah, smart.
And I think...
We could be like, you could have a bit of a matrix. You could actually do another scorecard. I'm obsessed with them. But you could be like, you know, what do you need right now? And like, how much money have you got to spend? But how much time have you got? So you could be like, right, you're really time poor, cash poor. You need to do something. And this is like the shortest, you know, this is like the 20-minute video that if there was nothing else of mine, this is what you'd watch. But if you're like, I got plenty of time and I love binge watching stuff, it's like, here's the YouTube, just press play and go. And like, if you like immersive stuff and you've got a week, then we'll do the 5-day challenge. You could really make that smart.
Like you could do a scorecard of, where do I start? I'm new to Helen. Nice. Where do I start?
Starts taking notes. Voice note the team. We need to do a scorecard on where do I start?
Yeah, but just like here, what my biggest challenge is, here's the first 5 videos you should watch.
Yeah, because
here's the first 5 posts.
We do get that feedback though, like, oh, Helen's got so much stuff, I don't even know where to start. And again, my best clients will consume like a person obsessed and then buy because they just want as much of me as possible, and they'll join the program and then they'll binge everything in there because they just want, you know, as much goodness as they can get out of it. So I think giving people that opportunity, but also don't look at me and think, well, it's all right for you because you got this like thousands of hours of like I didn't start with that.
No.
You starting with one automated PDF is just the perfect. Mine was like the Lazy Girl's Guide to LinkedIn. That was the biggest downloading thing we've ever had. And that's where I got a big chunk of my OG leads from. So like that can work really well. Checklists can work. AI is your friend here as well. And, so you can create stuff that's low cost and free. But what you said was really interesting about what you'll see when you've got the data, particularly at scale, is you've got a price point you're not servicing at all. So we had this under £500 that we just weren't even servicing. So then we created this £19, mini course.
Yeah.
And we just sold so many of them, like hundreds and hundreds, just like ticking up, And we didn't really do it for the revenue, but the revenue was great because it's all counts.
But you've grown your own customers. If they follow
then we got
that,
this list, and then they all get the ping, the Zap that says these are our £19 buyers. Well, they are more motivated than our no spend buyers. So then we can market to them in a different way and give them the next step on the ladder. It's like I know this stuff, but seeing it in action and seeing how technology can support that is really powerful.
I think wrapping up on automation, I think, the key thing is, one, you need to know why you're running the automation. First of all, for who, what the point of it actually is.
You've got to put your personality into it as well. Yeah. You've got to, whether it's you. So I'm a big fan of when you do a scorecard is make the answers full of your personality and expertise. And I like to use humour in mine as well sometimes, because you've got your questions, which show the right question to ask, but your answers are really where you can show where they're at.
Don't over-sterilise it, make sure.
Yeah. Daniel disagrees with me because he's very much like, yes, no, maybe, but I like to put a bit of personality in because I think it's an experience then for them.
But then buying from you and Dan, I don't know Dan well personally, I met him a couple of times. They're very different people and you're buying very different things from them. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. So you've got to know who you're buying. And in a sense, by automating, you are allowing more human resource time, more human contact time to serve clients better. And actually, you're going to give them more of the contact they need rather than less contact. It's a tool to enable you to serve better and to give more time and attention where it is, rather than just a time save and a distancer from your audience.
Yeah, I mean, seeing it in action has been game-changing, business-changing, life-changing for me, because it really allowed me to see how scaling with personality was possible.
Brilliant.
Love it.
Okay, episode 5.
What
coming
is next?
soon.
I don't know. What is next?
I don't know. You're the boss. What are we doing in episode 5?
Now, this is our wheelhouse, 100%, the marketing machine. Yeah?
Yeah.
Content consistency and client attraction.
Well, that is definitely one everybody should be tuning in for. And I very much doubt we'll get that one done in the 30-minute target time, as we're about 8 minutes over on this one. And I'm not even looking towards Mark because he's probably glaring about how far we've overrun on this. The next one might be 2 episodes. Let's just say that. Let's just buy us out.
Or it might be the mega episode of the season.
Yeah, like the cliffhanger that they have at the end. Yeah. Right, let's see you on the next episode.
See you then.